You think you're saying whatever, just so? I'm sure you exactly fake your attitude really is.
Try that attitude again, Miss Hale, and I'll shut it down before you even blink.
Oh, please, spare me the threats. You don't scare me, and you never will.
You old fool. Stop acting like a victim, people, like you should stay silent when I'm talking. Michael Hayes had heard disrespect in his life before, but nothing prepared him for the venom in Ariana Blake's voice as it echoed through the courtroom. Her words sliced through the silence like a blade, drawing gasps from the crowded gallery. Even the court clerk's fingers froze above the keyboard as if the shock rippled through every wall of that room. Michael didn't move. He couldn't. His feet were rooted to the floor, his breath shallow, his heart thudding against his ribs like it wanted to escape. He looked up slowly, his eyes meeting Ariana's, the young woman he once trusted enough to rent his guest house to. The same young woman who now stood in front of him, weaponizing lies that had already nearly destroyed his life. Ariana stood tall, chin up, designer jacket glimmering under the overhead lights. She looked more like she was filming a dramatic TikTok than standing in a court of law. Her perfectly styled hair, sharp eyeliner, and smug expression made her look untouchable, exactly how she wanted to appear. Her 2.4 million social media followers adored her confidence. They worshipped her boldness. They believed every word she posted, every edited clip she shared, but none of them were here to see the truth. Judge Marlowe entered, her black robe sweeping. Behind her, eyes sharp with the authority of someone who had seen decades of deception. She took one long look at Ariana, then at Michael. Her jaw tightened as if she had already sensed the imbalance of character in the room. "Everyone be seated," she said. Everyone obeyed except Ariana, who sat with a dramatic huff, rolling her eyes like she was bored at a school lecture. Michael lowered himself into his seat slowly, like a man carrying the weight of years on his back. Exhaustion clung to his face, worry lined his forehead. But behind his tired eyes lived something powerful truth. This is the case of Hayes versus Blake, the judge announced. Alleged defamation, unpaid rent, intentional harassment, and emotional damage. Ariana leaned back confidently. "Basically all lies," she snapped loud enough for the microphone to pick up. "He's just bitter because I didn't let him take advantage of me." Michael's head jerked up. He wanted to speak. He wanted to shout, to deny, to defend himself, but his throat tightened. He'd already been painted a monster online. One false video had taken his job from him, his dignity, his peace, his friends. He had learned the hard way. A single lie from someone popular could ruin a lifetime of honesty. Judge Marlowe arched an eyebrow. "Miss Blake," she said, "you will not speak unless asked. Do you understand?" Ariana smirked. "I understand perfectly. I just don't care." A collective gasp filled the courtroom. Michael closed his eyes for a moment. Memories from the last 4 months flashed in his mind like lightning, his wife's photograph on the fireplace. The nights he comforted his son Noah from panic attacks caused by Ariana's wild parties. The morning he found strangers passed out on his lawn. The day his employer asked him not to return until the scandal settled. His reputation had burned because Ariana wanted attention. It began innocently. A simple rental agreement. Michael needed money after medical expenses and therapy sessions for Noah. Ariana needed a quiet place away from paparazzi. She seemed polite at first, soft-spoken, respectful, grateful. Michael had even told his son, "She's a good kid. Just needs privacy." Privacy was not what she wanted. Control was. 3 weeks after moving in, she turned the guest house into a filming studio, a party venue, a nightclub. Night after night, loud music rattled the walls. Alcohol bottles littered the ground. Cars blocked Michael's driveway. His son couldn't sleep. His house shook from bass. He knocked on her door over 10 times, politely asking her to lower the volume. Every time she ignored him, until one night when he knocked harder because Noah woke up terrified, crying from the noise. That night changed everything. Ariana stormed out, holding her phone, fake crying, pretending to be scared. She filmed him. Then she edited the clip, cut out her screams, her insults, her threats. Left only the part where Michael raised his voice, only because he was desperate. She posted at Dot, and in 12 hours, Michael became the creepy landlord harassing a young girl. Thousands believed it. His job didn't want the bad image. Parents at his son's school whispered. His landlord friends avoided him. His relatives questioned him. All because she wanted content. Michael opened his eyes. The courtroom air felt heavy. Judge Marlowe leaned forward. "Mr. Hayes," she said gently, "you may speak." His hands shook slightly as he placed them on the table. "I'm not perfect," he began, voice trembling. "I've made mistakes in my life, but I've never hurt anyone. I just wanted to protect my son." The lies she posted. They destroyed everything. People threatened me online. I had to pull my son out of school. We barely sleep at night. And his voice cracked. "I just want my life back." Ariana snorted loudly. "Oh, please, you're so dramatic." Judge Marlowe snapped her head toward her. "Miss Blake, last warning." Ariana leaned forward, eyes blazing. "You want the truth?" She snarled. "Fine. He's pathetic. He's boring. He's broke. I turned his stupid house into something exciting, and he couldn't handle it. So now he wants money. That's all this is. A cash grab." Michael's eyes widened. "My son," he whispered. "This isn't about money. It's about what you took from us." Ariana laughed. "What did I take? Your peace? Grow up." The judge's gavel struck once sharp, icy, powerful. "Miss Blake," she said, her tone deadly calm. "If you do not learn respect, I will teach it to you." The courtroom froze. Ariana blinked, shocked for the first time. Judge Marlowe leaned forward with fire in her eyes. "And I promise you, you will not enjoy the lesson." Michael felt something he hadn't felt in months. Hope. This wasn't over. This was just the beginning. Asterisk. Roll your eyes at me one more time. Miss Blake, just one more time, and I promise you will regret it. Ariana Blake froze mid-eye roll, her mouth falling slightly open in disbelief. No one talked to her like that. Not at home, not online, not in brand deals. Certainly not in courtrooms, at least she never thought so. Her confidence wavered for the briefest second, but she masked it instantly with her signature smirk. The gallery buzzed with whispers. Even Michael, sitting quietly beside his lawyer, felt a chill run through him. Judge Marlowe wasn't like the internet commenters Ariana could bully or manipulate. She wasn't a brand representative terrified of losing a pretty face. She wasn't a fan desperate for attention. She was a judge with power. Real power. Ariana crossed her legs, tapped her nails on the table, and exhaled dramatically. Pretending she wasn't rattled. Judge Marlowe adjusted her glasses. "Now," she said, "let's proceed with the evidence." Michael's lawyer stood, holding the lease agreement, the original starting point of everything. "This is the signed rental agreement between Mr. Hayes and Miss Blake," he said. "She agreed to pay rent on the first of every month, obey noise restrictions, and avoid unauthorized parties." Ariana scoffed loudly. "That's not even my signature." She lied without blinking. "He forged it." Michael's lawyer didn't react. He simply turned the page and held it up. "Miss Blake, this is your driver's license signature." He held the lease agreement beside it. The signatures matched perfectly. Ariana blinked once. Then her jaw tightened. "That doesn't prove anything," she snapped. "People copy signatures. Everyone knows that." Judge Marlowe let out a long, slow breath. "Miss Blake," she said, her tone razor sharp, "I have handled forgery cases for 26 years. That is your signature. Don't insult me with sloppy lies." Ariana clenched her jaw but said nothing. Michael sat there quietly, his knees shaking under the table. He still wasn't used to speaking up for himself. Years of responsibilities, grief, and trauma had taught him to stay small, stay calm, avoid conflict. But today, something deep inside him was changing. Being lied about for months had carved something hard into him. And seeing Ariana cornered, actually facing consequences, gave him enough strength to breathe again. Michael's lawyer continued. "Now, Your Honor, we'd like to present the security footage." Ariana's head snapped up. "What footage?" she demanded, panic flashing across her eyes. Michael finally spoke, voice steady for the first time. "The cameras in the backyard," he said. "You knew they were there." Ariana's face turned pale. No, I didn't. Why would, how could? Judge Marlowe raised her hand. Play the footage. The screen lit up. The room fell silent. Asterisk. The first clip showed Ariana hosting a loud party with nearly 30 people. Music blasted. People danced on tables. Fireworks were set off dangerously close to the fence. Someone vomited near Michael's garden. Another person smashed a window. Ariana laughed, holding up her phone. Recording it all. Her online followers could only see the polished clips. But here, the raw truth was undeniable. Ariana shot forward in her seat. That's illegal. She yelled. He can't record me. Michael's lawyer didn't blink. It is his property, his backyard, his guest house. The judge added, and these cameras were disclosed in the lease you signed. Ariana's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Asterisk clip 2 began playing. This one hit harder. A group of drunk men stumbled into the main house's backyard, banging on the windows where Michael's son Noah slept. The boy, just 10, could be seen through the curtains, terrified, covering his ears as the pounding grew louder. Asterisk Michael swallowed hard. His eyes shimmered. That night had broken him. Ariana shifted in her seat, visibly uncomfortable for the first time. She stammered. That wasn't my fault. People just showed up. I didn't invite them. Judge Marlowe leaned forward. Then why, she said, are you seen in the footage encouraging them to explore the old man's house? Ariana froze. Clip 3 played. Her voice echoed through the speakers. Go look around. It's funny. He's such a loser, he won't stop you. Gasps erupted from the courtroom. Ariana's face turned red, part anger, part humiliation. Michael leaned back, breathing deeply. For months, he had been called a liar, a creep, a manipulator. Today, the truth wasn't just coming out, it was exploding into the light. Judge Marlowe turned her sharp eyes toward Ariana. This footage alone justifies an eviction, damages, and a restraining order. But we're not done, are we, Mr. Howard? Michael's lawyer nodded. Double quotes, no, Your Honor. Next, we addressed the defamatory videos she posted online. Ariana's eyes widened. Her mask cracked completely. No, you don't understand. That video is private property. Judge Marlowe slammed her gavel once. Miss Blake, sit down. Ariana collapsed into her seat. Michael's lawyer played Ariana's viral edited clip. The one that destroyed Michael's life. It showed only the final 10 seconds of their argument. Michael's raised voice, his hand lifted in frustration. No context. No cause. No truth. Then he played the full unedited version, Ariana screaming. Ariana mocking his late wife. Ariana threatening to ruin him online. Ariana laughing as Noah cried in the background. The room erupted in gasps so loud they drowned out the audio. Ariana buried her face in her hands for a split second, but quickly recovered. That's fake, she whispered. He edited that? Michael finally stood. His voice didn't shake. I don't know how to edit videos, he said. I barely know how to use my phone. You ruined my life because it entertained you? You turned my pain into content? You hurt my son just to look powerful online? Ariana slammed her hands on the table. You think anyone cares about your stupid son? The room went silent. Judge Marlowe's expression hardened into something ice-cold and lethal. She stood from her chair. Miss Blake, she said slowly, voice trembling with controlled fury. You have just crossed the line even I cannot ignore. Ariana swallowed, fear finally showing. Your lies are unraveling, the judge continued, piece by piece. And when I finish exposing them, there will be nothing left to hide behind. Michael lowered his head, not in defeat, but in relief. For the first time in months, the truth was winning. Asterisk, just when the courtroom thought the storm had passed. Lena opened her mouth, and everything exploded. The room was still vibrating with attention. Judge Judith Stein had unleashed in part 2. Victor Hile sat frozen, his palms pressed together, silently praying his daughter would stay quiet, just this once. Even Noah, who had come prepared for a fight, felt a strange sinking feeling in his chest. But Lena Hall, she never knew when to stop. She lifted her chin, her eyes blazing with entitlement. and shot a deadly glare at Noah, a glare that could cut steel. Are you done pretending to be the victim? She hissed loud enough for everyone to hear. Or do you need to cry some more for sympathy? The gallery gasped. Victor shut his eyes. Judge Judith arched an eyebrow. Noah clenched his jaw but remained seated, knuckles whitening. He didn't want to explode. He didn't want to look weak. But Lena's voice, sharp, proud, dripping with venom, hit all the old wounds he thought he had healed. Judge Judith tapped her pen sharply. Miss Hale, she warned, you are already standing on very thin ice. Lena didn't blink. Your Honor, I'm just telling the truth. Because apparently he can spin stories and everyone suddenly thinks he's some innocent angel. Noah's voice cracked as he finally spoke. You ruined my life? Lena. Lena rolled her eyes dramatically, leaning back like she was in a private argument instead of a courtroom. Oh, please. I broke up with you, not your career. Not your dignity. You did that yourself. Judge Judith's eyes narrowed. She didn't like insults. She despised condescension. Miss Hale, tone down your arrogance. But Lena couldn't. It was part of her, and this time, she crossed the line dangerously. You know what? Lena snapped, pointing at Noah. He's obsessed. That's what this whole case is. An obsessed ex trying to ruin my name because he can't handle rejection. Noah abruptly stood up. The emotion flooding his face wasn't anger. It was heartbreak. I'm not obsessed. He shouted. I'm done with you. I'm done with your lies, your manipulation, your games. Judge Judith held up a hand, signaling him to sit. He obeyed instantly. Good, she said sternly. Now both of you will speak only when I ask. But the tension in the air was suffocating, like the entire room had taken one long, painful breath and didn't know when to exhale. Victor Hall finally spoke. Your Honor, may I address something important? Judge Judith nodded. As long as it brings clarity and not more chaos. Victor stood, his shoulders heavy, his voice controlled but trembling with guilt. I didn't raise Lena to be this disrespectful. I tried, I really did. But she's been spoiled, protected, shielded from consequences. And now she thinks the world owes her something? Lena whipped around to face her father. Dad, what are you doing? Victor ignored her. For the first time in years, he wasn't defending her. He wasn't cleaning up her mess. He was telling the truth. I knew she treated Noah badly, he admitted, swallowing hard. I knew she used him for attention, played with his feelings, never took responsibility. I saw it, but I kept quiet. A tear slipped from the corner of his eye, and that silence was my mistake. Lena shot up from her chair, voice shaking with rage. You're blaming me? She yelled. Are you actually standing there humiliating your own daughter in public for him? Judge Judith slammed her gavel. Lena Hale, sit down. Her voice cracked like thunder. Everyone froze, even Lena slowly. Hesitantly, she lowered herself back into the chair, her hands trembling with fury. Judge Judith leaned forward, her voice icy cold. Miss Hall, let me be very clear. No one in this courtroom is humiliating you. You are doing that yourself. Every word you say is revealing exactly the kind of person you are desperately trying to hide. Lena opened her mouth to argue, but Judge Judith cut her off. And if you interrupt me again, I will hold you in contempt. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. Noah looked down at his hands, breathing deeply. He had waited months for truth to come out, and now, slowly, painfully, it was finally happening. Victor wiped his eyes. Ashamed but relieved. Judge Judith shifted her gaze to Noah. Mr. Collins, you said earlier that Miss Hale's actions caused real harm. I want you to explain calmly exactly what happened. Noah inhaled sharply, gathering strength he didn't know he had left. All right, he said quietly. I'll tell you everything. The courtroom leaned in. Even Lena, though she tried to hide it, felt a sudden flicker of fear. Noah's voice steadied. It started the night she lied about me. Judge Judith nodded. Go on, Noah continued. And that lie didn't just break us up. It destroyed my job, my reputation, and my relationship with my own family. Lena's lips parted in shock. She whispered, "What? That's not." Judge Judith raised her hand. "Miss Hawley, not one word." Noah's eyes locked on Lena with the truth so raw it struck her harder than any insult ever could. "You didn't just hurt me," he said slowly. "You erased me." Judge Judith took a deep breath, her expression shifting from anger to something grim and serious. "Miss Hawley," she said calmly, "before we proceed, I need to ask you something very important." Lena sat rigid, her face pale. Judge Judith's voice cut through the silence like a blade. Asterisk. "Did you lie about Noah Collins intentionally, knowing it would ruin him?" The room gasped. Lena's eyes widened. Her breath hitched. She didn't answer. Not yet, but her silence. It was louder than any confession, and the suspense tightened its grip on the courtroom, because everyone knew, asterisk, the courtroom froze, waiting for Lena's answer, but what came next was far more explosive than a simple yes or no. For a moment, no one breathed. Not Judge Judith. Not Noah. Not Victor. Asterisk. Lena Hollis stared at the judge, as if the walls were closing in around her. The question hung in the air like a loaded gun. Did you lie about Noah Collins, intentionally, knowing it would ruin him? Her mouth opened, closed. She blinked rapidly, inhaling shallow breaths as if the room had suddenly run out of oxygen. Asterisk, the gallery whispered. A chair creaked. Someone coughed nervously. Then I didn't, Lena stuttered. "I didn't mean." Judge Judith lifted a single hand. Asterisk, "Miss Hall, this is a courtroom. We deal in truth, not excuses." Lena's face flushed deep red, then drained of color entirely. Victor Hahn watched his daughter with the expression of a man who had loved, protected, and enabled, and was now witnessing the consequences. Noah braced himself, fingers trembling slightly under the table. Judge Judith leaned forward. "Did you lie?" Lena's jaw tightened. Her eyes flicked to Noah, then back to the judge. "I didn't lie," she snapped suddenly, louder than she should have. "I just exaggerated." A wave of murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Judge Judith's eyes sharpened like daggers. Asterisk, exaggerated? She repeated slowly. "Miss Hollow, in legal terms, exaggeration is still falsehood. And falsehood, especially when it harms another person's life, becomes defamation." Lena swallowed. Hard. Judge Judith continued. "So let me rephrase the question in a way even you cannot twist." A beat of chilling silence. Asterisk. "Did you knowingly tell a false story about Mr. Collins?" Lena's fingers dug into her skirt. Her breathing grew uneven. "I told what I felt at the moment," she murmured weakly, hoping the softer tone would make her sound innocent. Judge Judith didn't blink. "Miss Hawley, I wasn't born yesterday. Feelings are not facts. And your answer so far is only digging you deeper." Lena's composure cracked. She shot up from her chair suddenly, pointing at Noah with shaking rage. "He deserved it." She screamed. The entire courtroom jolted. Noah's eyes widened. Victor gasped. Judge Judith's mouth tightened into a line of stone. Lena continued ranting, every word a countdown to her own destruction. "He left me alone at that party. He embarrassed me in front of my friends. He made me cry. And everyone saw it. Everyone judged me. So yes, I said things because he hurt me first." Judge Judith immediately raised her voice. "Miss Hollis, sit down, now." Lena fell back into her seat, chest heaving, eyes burning with spite and fear. The courtroom was dead silent. Judge Judith waited a moment, letting the tension settle into something heavy and unmistakably dangerous. Then she spoke slowly, clearly, each word a hammer. "So you're admitting that what you said about Mr. Collins was not true?" Lena froze. Her lips trembled. I didn't say that." "You implied it," Judge Judith countered sharply. "You justified it. You emotionally explained it. But you did not deny it." Tears welled in Lena's eyes, but they weren't tears of guilt. They were tears of exposure. Victor Hale's hand slowly covered his face. "Lena," he whispered, voice cracking. "What have you done?" Lena whipped her head toward him. "I did it because you always told me to stand up for myself." She shot back. You always said I should never let anyone walk over me. Victor shook his head, devastated. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean destroying innocent people. Lena's lip quivered. She suddenly looked small, lost, cornered. Noah took a breath and spoke softly, but the weight in his words sent a sting through the room. Lena, do you realize what your lie cost me? She didn't look at him. I lost my job, Noah continued. My friends, my scholarship, my name. People looked at me like I was a monster. Lena's eyes flicked toward him, but she quickly looked away. And the worst part? Noah's voice broke for a moment. My own mother didn't believe me. Because your father had power. Because your words carried weight. Because you were the senator's daughter. Lena's throat B-O-B-B-E. She whispered, almost inaudibly. I didn't think it would go that far. Judge Judith's voice sliced through the quiet. That is because you have never faced consequences. People like you, she pointed at Lena, not with her finger, but with the truth. Grow up thinking your words are harmless. But words can destroy lives. Lena wiped her tears angrily. I didn't mean to ruin him. She muttered. But you did, Noah whispered. And you never even apologized. Lena's eyes widened. The truth hit her like a slap. She hadn't apologized. Not once. Not even accidentally. Judge Judith folded her hands. Miss Hawley, this case is no longer about petty arguments, or youthful mistakes, or emotional confusion. It is about deliberate, reckless behavior that destroyed another person's future. A sharp silence. I will give you one final chance to speak honestly. No lies, no dramatics, no blame. Lena's shoulders trembled. Judge Judith asked, why did you lie about Noah Collins? Lena's chest rose and fell fast. Her eyes darted between her father, Noah, the judge. The audience thought her breath hitched. Her face crumpled. Her voice, when it came, was raw and broken, because I didn't want anyone to know I was the one who messed up. The courtroom froze. Lena covered her face with her trembling hands. I wanted someone else to take the fall. And Noah was the easiest person to blame. He always forgave me. He never fought back. I thought he wouldn't this time either. Noah closed his eyes, absorbing the confession. Victor sat in silent shame. Judge Judith let the emotional blow settle before delivering her cold verdict. Miss Hawley, you just admitted to intentionally framing an innocent man. Lena sobbed softly. The consequences, Judge Judith continued with chilling authority, will be severe. And as the room filled with stunned silence, everyone knew. Lena's confession hung in the air like smoke, thick, undeniable, impossible to escape. And Judge Judith Stein was ready to deliver a verdict the courtroom would never forget. The room was frozen. Not a whisper, not a breath, not a single movement. Lena Hawley sat hunched forward, hands covering her face, shoulders trembling. Every layer of arrogance she had worn like armor had crumbled. She looked like a child, terrified and exposed. Noah sat quietly, staring at the table. His jaw clenched, his eyes glossy, but not from anger. From release. Months of carrying a silent burden were finally dissolving. Victor Hawley stood behind his daughter, helpless, ashamed, and broken in a way no father ever expects to be. Judge Judith Stein closed the file slowly. No urgency. No theatrics. Just a heavy, deliberate motion filled with weight and finality. She leaned forward. Miss Hawley, I want you to look at me. Lena didn't move. Look at me. Her voice cracked like a whip. Lena flinched and slowly raised her head. Mascara streaked her cheeks. Her eyes were red. Her confidence was gone. Judge Judith's tone was harsh, but not cruel. You admitted under oath that you lied about Mr. Collins intentionally because you didn't want to face responsibility. That single lie created a ripple effect of destruction. She lifted one finger. One lie. The silence deepened. One lie that cost a young man his reputation, his education, his opportunities, and his relationships. A lie that could have followed him for the rest of his life if this hearing had never taken place. She turned her gaze to Noah and Mr. Collins. You have shown remarkable restraint sitting here. Most people in your position would have erupted long before now. Noah nodded without speaking. The emotional exhaustion was visible in his eyes. Judge Judith continued, "This courtroom values truth. It values justice. And today, justice will be served properly." She took a deep breath. Her next words were sharp, cold, and final. "Miss Lena Hawley, I find you responsible for defamation, emotional damage, and intentional harm." Lena inhaled sharply, as if the verdict pierced her skin. Judge Judith didn't stop. "Furthermore, due to the severity of your actions, your lack of remorse until cornered, and the destructive impact on Mr. Collins's life, I am ordering the following consequences." Lena crumbled back into her chair. Victor gripped the back of it, bracing for impact. The courtroom leaned forward. Judge Judith held up the first page. "Number 1. You will publicly retract your false statements in writing and on record, acknowledging that your accusations were fabricated." Lena squeezed her eyes shut, tears pooling again. "Number 2. You will provide financial compensation for the opportunities Mr. Collins lost due to your actions." Lena gasped. "But I can't." Judge Judith raised a hand. "You will. Your father may assist you if he chooses, but the responsibility remains yours." Victor nodded silently, accepting the consequence even before Lena did. "Number 3. Judge Judith continued, "You will undergo mandatory counseling. Your reckless behavior stems from a pattern of emotional manipulation and entitlement. That ends today." The room murmured approvingly. Lena felt her world collapse. For the first time, her actions carried real weight, heavy enough to crush her. Judge Judith wasn't finished, and lastly, she paused. Her eyes locked onto Lena's with piercing intensity. "You will deliver a direct apology to Mr. Collins, right here, right now, without excuses, without tears, and without blaming anyone but yourself." Lena froze. Judge Judith's voice sharpened. "Stand up." Lena's legs shook as she rose slowly. Clutching the table for balance, "Face him." She turned toward Noah, trembling. "No hiding behind your father. No attitude. No dramatics. Just the truth." Lena swallowed hard. Her voice cracked. "Noah." He looked up, calm, pained, waiting. Lena's lip quivered as she forced herself to speak. "I lied about you," she whispered. Judge Judith tapped her desk sharply. "Louder." Lena's voice rose, clearer this time, though trembling. "I lied about you, Noah. I hurt you. I ruined things for you. I was selfish. I was wrong. And I'm sorry." Her chest caved in as she stared at him, vulnerability replacing every trace of arrogance. "I never thought about how much damage I would cause. I only cared about protecting myself. I was unfair. I was cruel. And you didn't deserve any of it." Noah let out a long breath, one filled with months of pain, relief, and release. Judge Judith nodded approvingly. "Mr. Collins," she said, "you may respond." Noah stood slowly. His voice was calm, not revengeful, not boastful, just honest. "I accept your apology," he said. "I don't forgive what you did. Not yet. But I accept that this is a step toward accountability." Lena's eyes filled again, but this time the tears were real. "Not for pity, but for guilt." Noah continued. "I don't want revenge. I just wanted the truth to come out. I wanted my life back. And maybe now, I can start rebuilding." Victor exhaled shakily, grateful and devastated at once. Judge Judith closed the session with the authority that made her legendary. "This case is concluded. Justice has been served." She slammed the gavel. Cracked. The echo rolled through the courtroom like thunder. Lena collapsed into her seat, sobbing softly. Victor placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, not in defense, but in understanding that she must face the consequences alone. Noah stepped outside into the sunlight. Breathing deeply for the first time in months, the air felt lighter, brighter, honest. And in that moment, he realized something powerful. Truth isn't just justice. Truth is freedom.